a second here. Well, everybody, welcome. This is the Mayor of Rock and Roll and Friends. I guess I'm the friend tonight. Our guest is my good friend Sal Sergia, the Mayor of Rock and Roll himself.
Yeah, baby. Well, how we doing, Brother Gene? My man, Doc G. That's Doc G, Simon. Today, before we start, we got to give a shout out to Fran, who was not able to do the show tonight.
Hi, Fran. We miss you.
Fran, we'd love to have you, but you know you're getting a little too old there with the knees and stuff. I'm only kidding. She's laughing right now.
Oh my God!
But also we have a shout out to Paul who made the poster. You know Paul, right? Simon knows
yeah.
Who makes all the great posters, and it's Simon's parents' 55 years anniversary.
Yep.
Yeah. Happy anniversary! I met Dad. I worked with him in the movie. Remember? I said. So welcome to episode 30. This is number 30, episode number 30. And tonight we got Saima Huq as a writer, actress, producer, executive producer of the feature film called King Lahari, which is also available on Amazon Prime. And I got a DVD, so I don't have to go to Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
My personal DVD. So let's have a big hand and welcome to my friend Saima Huq.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What's happening, Simon? How you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah. It's been I don't know. It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. All right, let's let everybody. I've had quite a few people saying they can't wait to see the show. They've been checking out the poster, and they always ask me, another person covered your song? Because every post I put up, it's the same song. Can't Love Without You, with a different person who recorded it. So it's like, that's great. I put a poster up and I use my song. So promote you, promote me. You know how it works. And yeah, so there's been a lot of excitement. People have been asking me. I said, and a few people say, Saima Huq, what does she do? And I said on the poster, actress, and my friend Erica Eleniak actually asked me. You know Erica Eleniak?
Yeah.
She liked the poster. She gave the poster a like.
Hillbillies.
Right. She just a few minutes ago she gave the poster a like, and with the other 3 times that I put it up, she also gave it a like. So Erica Leniak knows who you are. She said,
"Oh, thank you,
filmmaker. Maybe we could do a movie together." You know. Hey, listen, everybody's interested in filmmakers. Right? We put that up. All the actors they start liking it. You know, they start liking the poster. So, Gene, do you have any questions, or should I ask Saima from the beginning how she got started and got into being an actress and a producer and all this kind of stuff?
Well, that's what I was kind of going to ask her. How did you get started in this
Go
business?
ahead.
Okay. So mine was kind of a roundabout way, because I always tell people I moved to New York to work for the water department, and that's true. I moved here to be a public health epidemiologist for the drinking water quality supply. I really did that, a government job. But there, you just see people acting all the time. This was 2004. So, everyone seemed to be an actor. And I'm like, there just seems to be so much work. I would like to try this. And so I signed up for New York castings online. The internet was still in its first decade. And I got a background acting job, which I was like, oh my God, little did I know that they're going to always be looking for background actors. But I was just so excited, and it just went from there. There just seemed to be work all the time, and I enjoy it. You meet a lot of other actor friends, you get booked together on jobs, you keep in touch with each other. Remember, Facebook was just starting then too. So they're kind of like my OG Facebook friends too, are all the background actors and actors who go on to write and direct and make their own projects 15 years down the line. So.
Well, I got to ask you this now, because you brought this out. How good is our water?
It's pretty good. You know what they say about that's why the bagels and the pizza is so good because of water. It is. And I actually have a whole presentation I could do on that.
No. I'm just saying overall, because you hear. I mean, you hear it all the time. I'm here in Trenton, New Jersey, right? And we hear our water is really bad, and I get the pamphlets showing that the water is bad, and then I got a whole house filter, and I got a filter on my water in my kitchen sink just to make sure that I try to get as much contaminants out as I can. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to make sure that I know everybody looks at me like, "What are you doing that for? Just drink out of the tap water." I'm like, no, I don't trust it.
Well, I'm impressed you read the water quality report that comes out twice a year. I'm actually from Ewing, by the way, originally. So I'm actually from the Trenton area.
Oh, so you're familiar with it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
But I work for New York City, so that's different because the water supply comes from the coast.
Right. Where the aquifer is, and also where the water treatment plant is, and stuff.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of naturally filtered as it comes down over the down from the mountains. So it's like a whole thing. And sometimes drinking water might not be good because of the age of the pipes that is bringing it to your house, or what they call the service pipe, which is the pipe from your house to the larger. The service pipe is what goes through the town, but then you have service pipes that go to your house. So you gotta be careful about that.
Well, my good friend, she used to have a show with us, Dr. Katsaros. She's, I believe, is someone with the spinal, and she's also like a chiropractor type thing, adjustments. But she said the same thing. She says, well water, she has it tested, it's very healthy. So I guess the aquifers are healthy, and that's good. That's all I'm trying to get to. So trying to calm people's nerves, because as a homeowner, and you drink the water, it's a primary resource. So.
Absolutely. And until like maybe 20 years ago, nobody bought bottled water. I know. But now they do. And know that there's an expiration date on the bottle. It's not about the water. Water doesn't expire, but the bottle does. And that's why they're like, oh, how did all these microplastics get into me? That's kind of part of it.
Let me ask you this question. How does a plastic bottle expire?
Well, the plastic starts to break down. So, and it doesn't break down like that. You can see it. It just starts to like very small, like start to break off. And it's holding liquid. So it's going into the liquid.
Oh, wow.
I mean, she's right, though, because my mother-in-law sometimes she uses the same bottle and refills it with water constantly, and you could see it getting like really mushy looking, and it's starting to deteriorate. You know what I'm saying? So it makes perfect sense. You're right. You would know. I didn't know that, but the plastic must expire after a while.
Yeah, and if you add things like your mother-in-law, if you add things like lemon and stuff, the citric acid is going to make it. It's going to taste funny too.
This is great. I love this show because we got a cool subject going on besides all the other cool stuff that you've done. But this is cool. And I know Gene loves this kind of talk.
Oh my God, health! Anything health.
You guys enjoy yourself. Talk.
Cool. I actually have a master's in public health, and I worked 20 years as a personal trainer as well. So, yeah, yes. The late person who just said Polizeni. I hope.
Yeah, that's my friend, the doctor. Yeah,
absolutely. Where's my cup? Oh, I have one of those Yeti someone gave me, a stainless steel, and that's all I drink from anywhere I go. I just drink from there. I don't even drink bottled water anymore. I just fill it from filtered water fountains from work and things like that.
And you mentioned lemon. Lemon is very acidic. Especially, see what you just said? This is a plastic container. See what lemon?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's not a good idea because it is pulling some of the microplastics. So I got to be careful of that. But you're right about that.
Yeah.
And you think about it, like when you buy a bottle of Pepsi, so the plastic is much thicker. Makes perfect sense because it has to be able to last longer. And the regular bottled water is much softer. So if you put like Coca-Cola in one of those soft bottled waters, I guess it'll start to like melt down. But if you put Coca-Cola on a car, the paint starts bubbling off.
And there you go. Yep.
Well, what's interesting? I know we can talk about this, but
we'll go back to anything.
But sodas actually started as medicines. They kind of taste like medicine too when you think about it. But like
Coke syrup, right? Coke syrup started.
Coke syrup had cocaine in it. And actually, if you ever go to New Orleans, there is the pharmacy museum. It's actually set up in the house of the first pharmacist in the United States.
Wow.
He ran the pharmacy in the bottom of his house. So, but that's why there used to be soda fountains, at the drugstore, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to go eat at the drugstore," because the soda fountain, you could only drink your Coca-Cola because it was prescribed in the presence of the pharmacist. So that's when they started serving food there too. 7-Up used to have lithium in it when it first started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't have it now, but
no, I've never heard that before. That's why I didn't know that. I heard about the Coke.
Yes, and that's why it's called Coke. And people are like, "Oh, like a drug?" Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, it used to have the drug in it. But yeah, that's how soda fountains and drugstores got started. And then when they were no longer medicinal, they just like, "Hey, we can serve food here," and that's how that began.
And then they started the bottled campaign and the can campaign, and then that's why everybody's like got diabetes now because they have too much soda.
Yeah, it's so sugary. And actually, all of it, going back to the bottle, all those bottles are copyrighted. Because if you look at the different sodas, the bottles are all slightly different. So their shapes are actually copyrighted.
Wow. I did hear about that.
Wow, that's really interesting. The bottles are actually copyrighted.
Yeah.
Who would ever thought of something like that? I would never thought that.
Yeah, right. But you don't look at them that much. But if you took a few, and you just looked at them like, oh, there are differences in the shape.
Sure.
Slight differences in the bottom and the top or whatever. Not just the label, of course, but yeah. So
the bottle, the actual bottle itself.
Actual bottle. Now you're gonna be looking at them. You're gonna go to 7-Eleven and look at all the
bottles. I'm gonna do that. Like when I go to Sephori's right over here, the restaurant in my neighborhood, and I would grab a soda, and I'm trying to pick one, and now from you saying that, I really visualized it, and they're all slightly different, all different styles.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, very
interesting.
Yeah, because I remember I went to American University for my undergrad, and I think their contract was with Pepsi, and that includes anything they bottle, because people would ask, this is like in the late 90s, and the Starbucks Frappuccinos were really popular. Well, we didn't sell them because I believe those are bottled by Pepsi. So since the whole university had a contract with Coke, I believe at the time, nothing Pepsi bottled could be sold on the campus. It is a big business. It is not just us killing ourselves with sugar. It's like a massive, massive business.
Sure. You probably noticed there's like 23 tablespoons or teaspoons of sugar in each soda.
Yes.
No.
And it depends on the size of the soda. One thing I used to teach healthy eating. I've done a lot of jobs, but we would do one where we would bring bags of sugar with the teaspoons, and we would ask people to match it. The Hershey bar, which bag of sugar is it? And just like people like, oh my God, like, because when they see the visual of how full that bag actually is from the teaspoons,
right?
It's like, oh my God, yeah, it's like, yeah, this is how much sugar. When you eat this Hershey bar, you're eating this much sugar. And the biggest one was the Coke. And it was just like a 16-ounce one, but like the bag was like, the Ziploc bag was like completely full to bursting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's a good thing to show people, I think. Because, I mean, sugars are our first narcotic.
It really wakes them up. Go ahead, Sal.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. I like listening to this kind of stuff. But I just don't want you to, Paul Saima, she's an actress and a producer.
No, we're going
to this.
Writer.
But you know what? We can bring it back, because the movie takes place in a convenience store with all those copyrighted bottles in there.
That's right. That's right.
They were the background actors. See, it all came back.
Now, when you started doing background, what was the first casting company you used? There's Sylvia Fay, a whole bunch of them.
Well, I went through New York casting, so whoever put themselves through there, I believe it was Grant Wilfrey.
Grant Wilfrey, yes. Okay.
And the very first job I did was what's it called? Ghost Town. It had James Corden in it and Téa Leoni, and it was at the Met. I remember that. It was at the Met. We were in a fake gala, and I didn't know who James. No, not James Corden. Ricky Gervais.
Okay.
Ricky Gervais, and that was the first time I ever saw him, so I didn't know who it was. So
yeah. Well, that's how also, a lot of people, when you get on the set of, even as an extra, that's how you move up. I mean, so many people, I've talked about it on many shows myself. It's like, just get on that set and just mingle and be yourself. And, a lot of times they say, don't bother or talk to the lead actors. I'm like, yeah, right. Me? Are you going to tell me that? I'm like, yeah, I go right up to John Travolta. What's up, brother? How you doing? Before you know that, I have him in the palm of my hand. I worked on 30 Rock. It was Selma Hayek, Alec Baldwin, and who else?
Hey, she wrote it.
And then they were like, everybody was like making such a big deal. We were doing a scene in McDonald's, and everybody was like, don't talk to Selma Hayek, or don't talk to Tina Fey, don't talk to Alec Baldwin. Before you know it, I had them coming to me. Alec Baldwin said, I gotta see this movie, Knock Knock. You're the star of this? Because I would go on the set and I bring the little, like the King Lahari cards you made.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't make them, but Joe Ariola, the director, gave me like boxes of them. So I go on the movie set and hand them out to everybody. I was on Taking the Pelham 1, 2, 3. $200 million budget. I was handing out those Knock Knock that I gave to John Travolta, Denzel Washington, and you name it, everybody. John Turturro, and you can't keep me away from people are afraid. But before you know it, I have them liking me. It's like, I guess I'm a likable guy.
I think you are.
Well, look, we got you for King Lahari. We got Joseph Ganascoli.
Oh yeah, I remember. That was the first thing.
I went right to his house. I said, "Hey, you want to be in the movie?" Yeah.
I always tell people because we were like, it wasn't so simple. Like we just, that was it. Because when he wrote, you told me he's going to contact you. I had to have stuff prepared. Now, luckily, I had already written the scene, and Chris Picone, our editor, we had made actually a trailer just using stock footage. So when Sal he told me Joe's going to contact you. I was ready with the stuff. And so Joe goes, oh, this scene's a piece of cake. Just those lines. Okay. And it's like, it's like, I always tell people, I'll just be ready, because people will participate. People are willing to talk to you, but not if you don't look like you don't have your stuff together. And that's true of any industry, really.
You're exactly right. You don't look professional. You don't sound like you don't know what you're talking about, what you're doing. So yeah, it's always good to be present. That's like me when I do a movie. I mean, I like to. That's why they call me One Take Sal, because I like to be perfectly ready and not waste anybody's time and know my lines perfectly. And I get to the point where I just make it myself, where I don't have to even think about it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what was it? My lines over there, and
I love that scene. I mean, there's where Sal is and Mater D asked the couple on the date, "Are you ready to order?" And the guy says, "Yes." And he has asked the girl played by Charini Kulasuria, who's by the way a doctor now. She went all through med school since we've shot. But he asked her, and the guy answers. He goes, "Oh my God, your voice is so deep and melodious," And then he's like, "I'm a baritone myself," and starts singing. It's just so funny. I mean,
that was a great day. I had a great time. That was a great scene too. You know what I thought of afterwards? I said, why didn't I just get in a little scene? I should have just said, let's do a little scene with me and Joe Ganascoli together as brothers, just going back and forth a little bit. Didn't think of it. We could have done it right on the spot,
Yeah, there was so much going on that day. It was also our first scene shooting.
Right.
We had a lot of extras come who, I really liked working with them. This is like just when we're first opening up again, and a lot of people haven't been on anything because there weren't really movie productions at that moment. So we're in independent film. Yes. So I had done like Zoom wardrobe calls with them and all that. That's why everyone looks like, color coordinated a bit. And I showed them like photos of Eddie's Pizza. I'm like, now this is your background, the wall. So think of what you wear that's flattering, so you don't look just like a face blended into the wall. Because that's what happens if you wear colors too similar to your background. And so all the folks came, and they were just excited just to be on a set again. And what they did is they portrayed people eating. We bought pizzas for everybody, so yeah. And it was fun. It was a good day. And it was actually a very short day too. But and Eddie's Pizza was so wonderful, and you know the staff is great there, and you know they really, yeah, it was a great day. I think it was a great day.
I should have worn my Eddie's Pizza T-shirt. I didn't even think about it. I got it inside. I should have put that on for the show.
I still have one too. I was looking at it earlier today. I'm like,
I didn't think about it because I have it inside. I should have worn it for the show tonight.
Eddie's Pizza is really delicious, guys. Though.
Oh yeah, that place, and the owners were wonderful. The owners were fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my
nice
God.
guys. And the funny thing is, I did a scene, Gene. I did a scene with Saima's dad, right?
Yes.
And little brother Pete. How you doing, little brother Pete?
Ted. Oh, and he is actually now 16. So my father played like there's a running gag through it. So King Lahiri, it's a take on King Lear, whereas he has the kingdom and all that. So for Lahiri, his kingdom is the convenience store, and he owns an apartment above. But he has 3 other convenience store friends down the street, and they hang out in the alley. So my father played one of them. So at one point, though, when we're in the restaurant, my father comes in as one of the customers with his real life grandson, and Sal, as Pete, is greeting everybody. So he actually has a whole like interaction with them. Yeah. And Sal's character is like, everyone comes here because they love Pete. It's kind of like you on a movie set, Sal. Actually, it's like,
yeah, it's the truth. I mean, that's naturally me, really, flirting with everybody, and you know, that's really me in real life. So I mean, it was very natural. All I just do is remember the lines, you know.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Oh, there I am. Hey, what do you know? Okay, I'm gonna give a shout out to the photographer. His name's Darnell Bennett, and you can find him on Instagram because look how great he made me look. I mean, oh wow, Darnell.
Yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, those are beautiful pictures. I've seen those.
Thank you.
On that IMDb.
Yeah. I use them on everything. My LinkedIn. I have a lot more than just these, but yeah. So Darnell is a great photographer, and I thoroughly recommend him. And if you click on any of those photos, you'll see his name so that you can find him.
Yeah.
So shout out.
There they go. Beautiful pictures. Oh, who's that gorgeous chick?
I don't know. It's when I have more hair.
Yeah, baby. You look really nice. That's a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
You're very photogenic too.
Aw, thanks. I do print modeling too. Actually, it's funny going back to being in public health. I get so much work on medical training videos because I can pronounce the words, but also because I have been an actor. And I also tell people what I can realistically do. It's like, I can make it look realistic that we just finished a blood draw. I just say, we're not going to do an actual blood draw. You can't do gratuitous blood draws just for film. But what I can do is act like we just finished and I'm putting your Band-Aid on and like, you know, and I'm talking to you. It's like, I'll make it look right. Like you'll have your elbow out correctly and this, that, this. And yeah, so I actually did one for, I believe, Johnson & Johnson for their website on clinical trials. So that'll be out. If you go to Johnson & Johnson's website in a few months, you'll see me playing a nurse.
Okay. Really? Oh, I got to check that out. You know, I also forgot to mention before that not only is King Lahiri on Amazon Prime, but it's also on Tubi.
It is. It is.
It's also on Tubi. I forgot about that.
It is. I was just thinking recently, I should look at it again. I actually enjoy watching it.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's awesome. I love when I tell friends about it and they watch it just to support me. And then I say, hey, this is actually good. I'm like, why you say actually? Like, you know, but I guess it's like, thank you for supporting me. But yes, it is also something you might want to see for its story, not just because I did it. You know, I'm not like in high school. You don't have to clap for me at the talent show. I want you to see it to enjoy it, you know? So
I got a question for you. Saima, as a director, okay, this is a 2-part question. What do you find is the hardest thing to do with your cast and your crew and the movie? And what is the inspiration you take from other movies to bring to that film?
Good questions. I wasn't the director on this film, but I should say King Lahiri started as a stage play, and I directed that.
Okay.
But it really was a 2.5 person crew because we were training Jill. This was her first job with us as our script supervisor. So she was kind of like an intern as well. I think what is hard is making sure everyone understands why we're doing what we're doing. Now, there was a lot of preparation. And what I did is, because we were shooting in Long Island, but a lot of our cast were from the city, I wanted to make sure nobody had to make too many trips out. So I would actually go through the script, find the pages. Like there's one girl who would be out in Long Island for 2 different scenes. So I made sure both those scenes were shot the same day. So it's like you only make 1 trip out to Long Island, bring 2 wardrobes, because it's doing 2 different days. We decided, and they'll be dead. And I made sure that was the way for everyone. So we would minimize how much time people spent commuting, and that they were comfortable while they were there. Because we shot at night when the store closed down for the day. But some of our scenes were outside during daylight. So it's like what we do in between. We had one day, an extra long day, where we had the day shoots and the night shoots. So we took everyone to dinner in the middle at a nearby Thai restaurant. And, it's like, hey, it's a nice day. You want to go walking? I'll watch your stuff, report back at the store at this time. And that's how we did it. But it's like, just as someone who's been an actor, we try to be very respectful of people's time. We also paid for the commutes, like, train tickets, we paid for it. Or if they were driving, we calculated how many miles from a starting point. And, there's the IRS has a certain amount per mile that you do, because working a so-called government job or office jobs, this stuff for when you drive your personal thing. So we treat it like a job. And as such, it's like, we respect you guys because you are working on this. And yes, it's fun and we're creating something, but we want to respect you as a worker as well. And that's always you always got to treat it like a business, no matter what. And it is hard because we were shooting into the night, and sometimes people get tired. That's going to happen. But overall, I think people really, really sallied through on that. They were really great, because the most part that it took was on the people playing the family, because it's about King Lahiri and and he's Mr. Lahiri in the whole play or film, but it's King Lahiri as a take on King Lear. He is the king. But his 3 grown kids. And actually, if you watch the movie, the latter part looks like the play, because the play took place on one day inside the store. Why? Because we couldn't really change the set very much. And it was also a short play that ran with something else. So I think some of the best movies based on plays look like that. If you watch Frankie and Johnny from 1991 with Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer, that's based on a play. And the last third of that movie looks like a play. It's all inside her apartment, but it's kind of what makes it so beautiful. So I didn't base it on that, but when I look back, that's what we did with King Lahiri. What happened was, we all remember the pandemic coming about March 2020. King Lahiri ran as a stage play in 2018. And so everyone's in the house. No one knows what's going to happen. And having been trained in infectious disease control, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to be a long time. That much I knew. When they're like, we're going to open in 2 weeks, I'm like, no, we're not. I'm not going to do anything in 2 weeks. But that's when Christopher Picone, who's the director, said, hey, how everyone said that short play should be a movie? Let's work on that. So we would have Zoom readings. We would come up with the backstory to the play. And we started fleshing out more characters. And actors would join us in Zoom readings to read it out loud, so we could listen to what made sense, what didn't make sense. All of those actors got a special thanks in the credits, and they're on our IMDb. Anyone who helped us in any way got a shout out in IMDb, and the final credits. And so when things started to open up a little more, we're like, let's go make this movie. We fundraised, because I didn't have a job I was furloughed from. I mean, I really had nothing else to do. but it also was a passion project, and I'm glad we did it, because we brought all these people together. And from what I can tell, all those people are still friends, and all those people really enjoyed working on the movie. And that's something I really wanted, that when it was over, people said, oh my God, I had a good time making that happen. 2 of the actors who played the eldest daughter and the middle son, they went on to Broadway later. Danish, he was in The Kite Runner. And Uma, who played Salima, she was the first female Life of Pi. And I went to both those shows, and they gave King Lahiri a shout out in the playbill that all these thousands of people see. And I'm like, oh my God, because they've been in lots of stuff, but they put that in there, and that's like really touching, because we were just doing it as a passion project, and it just everybody just like everyone's like living such a great life. 5 years ago, no one knew what was happening, but we all had that movie to hold us together, and now people are on Broadway. And Sharini's a doctor, and Suraj, who plays the title character, he's acting in everything. He plays everybody's dad. He's awesome. So I would just say the hardest thing was making sure all of that happened, because as a producer, it's like the buck stops with you, but not just financially. It's also how everyone's feeling. So it's like checking in with people, making sure people aren't standing too much if they don't need to. Are you sitting down resting? I would iron the clothes because it's important for actors to look good on film. It's like literally did all the stuff, but I just want to make sure they're comfortable so that they can just do their job. I don't think actors should have to do anything more than act. So it's like, I'll do the other stuff. That's my job.
Yeah, no, you guys were wonderful. I mean, I worked with you throughout the, Gene, Christopher Pacone and Saima, they used to call me up, and I helped with whatever I could, trying to get some actors, and you guys did everything perfect. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because I'm talking here, but I know filmmakers that made so many movies and they don't want to pay anybody and they don't want to help. I've worked with many of them that they don't no food on the set, this and that. You guys were like so professional.
Thank
with
you.
Everything you did, even with for a first time movie. That was your first movie, right?
The first feature. And I want to give a shout out to the convenience store, East Village convenience store. By the way, our craft services was the store. So anyone who was shooting there, we're like, just take what you want, tell us what it is, and we will pay for it. And Nazia, who is the store owner's daughter, was there during all the shifts because she had to be. But also she's so camera shy. She didn't want us to put her on camera, so we named a character for her instead. She really liked the character.
And the place that Gene, the place she's talking about, is like I could walk to it from my house. It's like right it's in East Rockaway in Long Island. And I pass it every day. I pass that store every day.
It's right next to the Center Avenue, Long Island Railroad stop. It's right there.
Right there. There's a church right across the street, the church where I got married. That's right there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that church. The church is right there. And I pass it every day. And it's great because every time I pass it, I think of the movie right away. I mean, what else could I think about? I look at it and I see the movie in my head. Because we did, remember, we did the Return of Pete, but we didn't use it in the movie. We did the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Which was fine.
It was,
but we worked outside. I was with your dad and a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Actor, what's that actor's name? He's in a million things. He's in
Gabriel.
Yeah, he's good. I love that guy. How's he doing?
Yeah.
You keep in touch with him?
Yeah, keep in touch with all of them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, he was good. He's in a lot of stuff too. He's in a lot of big things. I've seen him in commercials and the Twizzlers commercial for the candy and all that, right?
Gabriel Awan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're thinking of. Yeah. They were funny. They were awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And the movie has a lot of nice moments in it too. A lot of nice warming moments, like when they're talking on the bench, about things, and
oh yeah,
that's some good funny moments. And it's a good movie, and and you guys did a great job because, like I said, you could see it's not you see people I've seen people make movies with more money than you guys spent that look so low budget. I know people that made movies with $100,000 and it looks so bad because of the actors. They're not good.
Mm-hmm.
They're very not natural. I mean, it's like you see those actors. Well, let's say the line is, "Give me that book." Hey, give me that book. It says, "Hey, give me that book." Hey, hand me that book. Very dramatic, like you're reading it, right? And they leave that in there. To me, that's like so lame.
Yeah.
I'm into being natural, natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually going back to what you asked, like what inspired us, we put a lot of 1970s touches in there because we talk a lot about how Mr. Lahiri got to America in 1970, which is when my father got here. And actually on my YouTube, I just did an interview. 2 years ago, I interviewed my father about his first year in America, and Christopher Picone and I, we put in photos and stuff. We kind of edited it a little bit. So that people could see visuals of what he's talking about. He went to Philadelphia, but he would always go to New York. So the second day in King Lahiri, they're in the East Village. So we make sure they go by the building that was in Taxi Driver, where De Niro goes and saves Jodie Foster. They also, when they go back another way, they go in front of the Physical Graffiti building, which is on the album of Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
They talk about the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, and they actually go to it. And that's actually based on that moment was based on somebody I knew in real life whose grandmother was a worker at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. However, she was sick the day of the fire, but she was traumatized because all of her friends, those were everybody she knew, died on the same day. So one of the characters makes an allusion. It's like, hey, the story goes to his neighbor because he's trying to say, like, give old people a break. You don't know what they went through. And so it's like really like showing a lot of history of New York City, at least that Manhattan part. And kind of like giving the younger people kind of like a perspective of like, stop thinking you're the be all end all. Like so much has happened exactly where you're standing. And it kind of widens their worldview at one point. So I really liked, putting New York history in there. I love history, as you can tell. I not just working for the water department, I could tell you the history of New York City water. I also was a tour guide at the Central Park Zoo. I really love New York's history. So I wanted to put those moments in there because it's like, everywhere you are, and actually anywhere in the world, but especially New York, a million things have already happened in that spot. If you could only know that,
Yeah.
Which is interesting, Saima, what you said is because it's not even that. There's so many things around us. Like I'm here in Trenton, New Jersey. I work at a place called the Abbott House for the local community, and I'm a tour guide. So I give people a tour from the 1730 house and 1840-year-old house. And there's so much history around us that surrounds us, not even New York, but everywhere. I mean, right outside your front door or back door, there's history there too. And what's interesting about that is unless you look for the answers, you'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Things that happen.
I would have never known about the situation. You talk about water. We have a log that was built, I guess, in the 1730s, around that time, and it was actually hollowed out in the middle of it. It's a tree log.
Okay.
That we have in one of the rooms. It's actually the water main they use.
Oh my God!
A huge water main. It's maybe about that big, 3 inches, something like that, and that was used as a water main. Yeah.
Very cool.
Because they didn't have pipe back then. They didn't have vinyl. They didn't have any PVC. They didn't have any copper. They had nothing. Yeah. They just had wood, and they made it work.
That's why the Brooklyn Bridge actually stands on wooden caissons.
I believe that.
It's so cold that it doesn't rot. And speaking of Trenton, I believe it's the water treatment plant, they have what they call the shaky bridge. If you look, it's a model for the Brooklyn Bridge. It's like you have to really look. Like when I was in my Ubers going to the train station, you really have to look, but it's there.
I've been over that bridge.
Oh my God!
You're right, because it's very, very narrow, very, very small, and it's very, very shaky.
Oh my God! Take a photo.
And Saima, Gene, if you look at Saima's Facebook page or Instagram, she takes pictures of. Now I know why you take so many pictures. But sometimes I say she takes pictures of like any spot, like a store in the village or a flower or some building, and because you're really, really into what's happening, and that's what's going on everywhere.
I always tell people my photos aren't posts; they're what I just see when I'm walking around. I have one called Philly Loves Saima, and there's Trenton, New Jersey photos in there too because Delaware Valley.
Right.
Actually, during the pandemic, when we were opening up 2022, I did a series of short plays at the Trenton Public Library because they're beautiful reads. They're on my YouTube as well. And I would have some actors, some of them were in King Lahiri. They would act because Thornton Wilder taught at Lawrenceville nearby. And I found he had written a bunch of short plays designed to be done on folding chairs.
Wow.
So we were like, oh, this is great. We don't need a set. This is just exactly what it is. And we actually did one called The Happy Journey to Trenton and Camden. And it's about a family that drives from Newark to see their daughter in Camden. All the things that happen along the way. You know, they get into an argument. This happens, that happens, whatever. And the folding chairs are the car. And so we performed it just for ourselves because there was no place. And then I'm like, we need to take this to Trenton. So I called up different libraries in the Trenton area, and the Trenton Reading Library said, yes, you can do it. Our stipulation, because there were still mask mandates. You only remove your masks during the performance and then put them on immediately. And they had the front row 6 feet away from us, but it's there, and it was really well done. And that's one of my favorite short plays.
Wow, I wish I had known. I would have probably came and seen you.
Oh, well, they did advertise, but it was also when COVID lockdown was coming out. So I don't know if people came, but we went back every other month for like 8 months. I mean, and did a bunch of other ones too. We kept doing it. It was fun. It was a great way to bring. We would rehearse on Zoom, and then we would meet in New York in a rehearsal room once or twice so we could work with the props, and then we'd take it to Trenton. And it was really good. Yeah.
You know, it's like another thing, Gene, besides King Lahari would have had so many more big name people in it, and Saima was willing to pay them whatever they wanted. And because of the pandemic, so many actors were afraid to go near anybody.
Right.
So, Dorsey Wright was just on our show, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And Dorsey Wright Saima wanted Dorsey Wright for the movie, and he had said he would do it, and then he decided not to because he was afraid of the COVID thing.
Yeah.
Also, my friend Brian from the movie Clerks.
Oh yeah, O'Halloran.
But yeah, Brian O'Halloran. I called him, and Simon says, "How much you want?" He said he gets $1,200 a day or whatever it was. Simon says,
"We're gonna do it.
I'll pay it." You said,
yeah.
And he didn't do it either because he was afraid of the whole COVID thing.
And that's fair because the vaccines weren't out at that moment. So we had like a lot of stipulations down. Like we would cheat angles. Like we would shoot people 6 feet away from each other, but then we would make it look like they were next to each other.
Right.
We brought hand sanitizer. We for props, we just had everyone bring your own handbag. We won't be switching out your handbags. We Zoom wardrobe calls. It's like we're not going to bring any wardrobe. We're going to approve what you wear. You're wearing your own clothes. You don't have to worry about changing nothing. So we put you at a table only if you knew the other person, you came as a family or whatever.
Yeah.
And we bought people all their own individual pizzas. So no one had to be sharing.
So you did so many precautions with the So this way you covered yourself, you covered them, you made them feel comfortable and at ease.
Well, I told you I have a master's in public health. I mean, and I worked in infectious disease control. So I'm like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
And nobody got sick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. What you saying?
Nobody got sick, and that was 4 months before the vaccines came out. So that's very fair. There was a lot of precautions, and people still didn't know what things were happening at that point in time. That was August 2020 to October 2020.
People still don't know what's happening at this time. Really.
Yeah, I mean, there's a vaccine now, but at that point in time, there wasn't. And the first people who got vaccines were healthcare workers, which is fair. But the regular person out there didn't know when it would be available for them or what the side effects were. Nothing. So I don't blame anyone who was like, I want to be in the movie, but I just can't. I respect that.
No, yeah, of course. I mean, they were afraid. And, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it was very scary for everybody. I mean, the streets were deserted. It was unbelievable. It's like when that happened, it felt like it was the end of the world, man. It's like Times Square, Manhattan was a ghost town.
Grand Central.
I couldn't believe my eyes. My friend Kenny was driving through Manhattan, and he took pictures, and there was not a person anywhere in Times Square.
I know. Remember that movie Vanilla Sky from 2001? It opened.
I saw Tom Cruise. That was Tom Cruise and
It starts with him having a nightmare that he's alone in Times Square. I'm like, he predicted.
Oh, really? I got to see that with Cameron Diaz as well, right?
Yep. I haven't seen it since that day, but I always remember it's like it was supposed to be so freaky that he's all alone in Times Square, and of course starts running because he's Tom Cruise and he runs in every movie. And then it's like, then when we have COVID, I'm like, this is just like that scene, except it's not a dream.
And
oh,
and Gene, by the way, I have two songs in your movie or one? Two.
I think you have two.
Yeah, the opening one, and then the one in the background while I'm singing along. While I'm singing Papa.
Yes. The Eddie music. All the music is original. Like you have songs. Rue Star has songs. She also is in there. Arif Silverman, he plays Rahul. He's actually also a musician, and he sings an original song in the movie, like live as his character. My father actually writes some music, so his music is over the closing credits.
Nice.
But yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like almost all the music is original songs from someone acting in the movie. Give it that little.
I like that in the trailer that Indian drum. What do you call? I forgot what you call. I love that.
Tabla.
Yeah, I love that sound. I always love that sound. I mean, that reminds me of the Beatles, but that's because as a kid, the Beatles introduced Indian music, but I didn't think it was Indian music. I thought it was the Beatles just coming out with some freaky stuff. But then you learn later on that George Harrison was, in India, and he learned how to play the sitar and all that. And he that he made like some amazing he was different. I mean, he came out, he was mixing pop with Indian music, and it was dynamite. He did that.
The guy's name, but he's the father of Nora Jones. He worked with the Beatles. Indian
Ravi Shankar.
Yes, that's it. Ravi Shankar, and his other daughter is Anushka Shankar. But yeah, I was trying to remember. I'm like,
and he played a sitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, George Harrison took lessons from him.
Yes, he
took
did.
lessons from him. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And even though he didn't learn that much, he learned enough to make some cool stuff happen.
He learned just enough.
Yeah, Sergeant Pepper. He did a couple of songs with the Indian sound. Also on Magical Mystery Tour. So, that's why when they did the Rutles, remember the movie The Rutles? We were talking about that, Gene?
Yep.
George Harrison character is Indian.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you ever see The Rutles, Saima? You would love
it.
You're right. From the Beatles.
You're right.
And they took Beatles songs and changed them around. But each character, George Harrison played the Indian stuff. The guy who played George Harrison was a real Indian with a Beatle haircut.
Right.
Yeah, it's
that
great.
Was me when I was 4. No.
Yeah, The Rutles. You got to check it out.
What's funny about that too is a friend of mine, Phil Hatton, he was working on remember I told you he was the Jeff Flynn's best friend for 40, 50 years from ELO. But Jeff was also working with George Harrison. So when they were doing When We Was Fab, that video, they put a little bit of, the sitar in there.
Yeah,
I freaking love it.
Hands are all moving.
They revisited what they sound like back in the 60s. And that's what I think made the song popular.
At the end, when his hands are
the sound,
really cool.
But I love that drum sound. I always like the way that sounds. And then you had that drum sound in the trailer as the train is going by.
Do we have the trailer? Can we watch the trailer on the?
If you could you pull up the trailer on YouTube?
I could try, but I want to ask you one more question too. About because you were talking about the pandemic.
Yes.
And I have a lot of health friends that watch this, and I'm sure Sal does too. But my biggest question is, as a person of health that is in the health industry, so many takeaways that were from the media that said this is happening and this isn't happening. So what I want you to try to do is clarify while I look for this. So my question is basically this. What was the proper way to follow what you didn't know what was real? So in other words, if you're hearing, don't go out at night, or don't go out until, the place is closed at 10 o'clock, or the virus comes out at a certain time. See, I didn't believe any of that.
No, the virus can't tell time.
Right. And that's my point. And they said, close people can't stand close to one another. But at the same time, there's people doing weddings, and the politicians themselves were found, without masks at these big events with a lot of people. And I'm like, wait a minute, if you're telling people not to do it and you're doing it, which is the rule to follow? I always say follow what you feel safe doing. I understand that.
Absolutely. Well, this is what I say. Like I said, I was a personal trainer. I trained a billionaire once, and he told me something. He said, this is going to sound very cynical, but if you learn nothing else from me, this is what you should know. If you ask somebody the question and they don't answer money, ask the question again, because the answer is money. So why are these places opening up? Because they need money. And what, the restaurants were losing money because 25% of any restaurant's profits is alcohol. Well, you cannot just send alcohol out. Anyone could be picking it up. So they could dine in, so they would have to open up eventually. But then we had those outhouses, as I call them, that were in the street. They call them outhouses. But then the people are sealed up, and I'm like, okay, you just were basically with your germs up in there, And by the way, I know this recently came down, but I attended an online training called the Rat Academy, which is done by the Department of Health. Rats like to be close to where food is. So you have all these safe little outhouses for them to bury under, and it's right by food. Oh my God. There must be so many rats up there. Because remember, they couldn't clean the streets because those things were there for so long.
Right.
They were there for years. And also, as somebody who walks dogs, it was so hard to walk a dog because there's so much dropped food on the sidewalk, because the poor waiters have to come out, dodge traffic and all that, go to the outhouse and do that. So I'm like, I would have to hold the dog's head as we go to the park, because then it's going to eat every chicken thing it could find. It's like, this dog's going to get sick. And of course, if the dog's not eating, of course, rats are eating it and vermin are eating it. So It's like, this is like a secondary thing, because everyone's going to be like, oh, that's New York. Oh, it's rats. Well, yeah, but you don't have to give them gourmet meals.
Right. So, right.
That's what happened.
I think Brother Gene pulled up the trailer.
So let's watch the trailer.
Hey!
Let's watch the trailer. Here we go.
All right. I'm going to mute myself.
Oh, wow.
Now there's two trailers, right?
Yeah. That was a very basic one before we cast anyone. Oh, and that's Village Convenience Store, not Easy Convenience Store, Village Convenience Store, which is where we shot. But it takes place in Jackson Heights, so we kind of cheated a little. So we did the shooting in interior shots in Long Island at Village Convenience Store. We did the outdoor bits in actual Jackson Heights.
Was that with a drone as well?
Yes. So actually what's funny is that wasn't our drone. We bought the footage off of someone who turned out to be an ER doctor who shoots footage. So it seems like there's a lot of healthcare folks who like to be creative too, which is awesome. That's how it should be.
Right.
We do have a second trailer where Siraj is doing a voiceover. So
yeah, can you get that one, Gene?
I'll try to find it. I think
the opening picture is that actress. What's her name?
Where is that under? Is that under the same thing?
It should be under mine, but go just put King Lahiri trailer, and it should be the second one that pops up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gotcha. You see a girl sitting on the bench. The girl sitting on the bench is the actual picture, I think.
I think we have maybe 3 trailers. I mean,
oh god,
what the heck?
Well, we had that first one, which was mostly just scenes. because that's when we were still developing the script. Then the second one has Siraj's voiceover because we actually cast Siraj and had something for him to say. But we use stock footage. And then the third one is actual footage of actual actors from the movie. So it's in steps.
Okay, I think I got this one. Let's see if this is the right one. Hold on a second. It's so hard because, like you said, there's all different things, you know.
Yeah, my fault. I should have said some to you, Gene. I didn't think of it.
We're just so prolific, man. We just couldn't help ourselves. We had to make sense.
It's okay. Let's see if this is the right one. No, it's the same one. Hold on. Where's the other one? I just got the other one for you.
Let's see.
Where's the other one? I just got the other one for you. This isn't the one? Is this the same one? Let's say this is it.
I think it might be different. This is different.
This is not the one?
I have no idea. What happened? Is
hopefully I'll retire soon.
Listen, Larry.
Oh, that was just the opening. Oh, there it
I
goes.
thought about it, and I actually think I may have more money to offer you.
Sorry I'm late, Bubba.
Always late. Where did you learn it? In school?
No, they taught me to be on time, and I'm 26.
Do you remember that promotion I mentioned last month?
The international manager for the East Asia office.
Okay, you remember.
Of course I remember. It's one part of Asia I don't have any relatives.
Can you just watch the counter while I go pee? Just hold down the fort.
I'll bring down the fort.
Did you know I went to see Mr. Patel next door today? He wanted to know if I would sell this store.
I want you to be happy.
Stop it, Tony. Stop. I was at Mr. Patel's store taking some pennies when your dad came in and started talking to him about selling while they were having chai. That's all they did. Talked.
Okay.
Awesome. Those are the actual actors. Oh, and the girl with the long brown hair in that last bit, she plays somebody named Tasha. Her real name is Bianca Roses, and she was on the latest season of Survivor in Fiji.
Oh, cool. So a quick summary of what the movie or trailer or the movie is about.
Yes.
Because we're getting ready to end in about 4 minutes.
Yes. So quick. So basically, he's a widower, Mr. Lahiri. He's owned this store for 30-something years. It takes place in 2012, the year of Hurricane Sandy, that figures in. And he's thinking about retiring, but he has 3 grown children. And he's like, well, do I give it to them? Do they run it? What do I do? But then he's like, I really want this building to stay in the family, but my kids all have different dreams. So it's like, how does everyone's dream work?
Right.
So that's what it is. And then he also considers, should he sell to his friend who's right there too, who knows the business? He's trying to figure out what to do that he's comfortable with.
Oh, wow. Very, very cool. Very. I mean, it sounds like it's a wonderful, movie. And you said this came out already? It's been a while?
It came out January 2023 on Amazon Prime and also on Tubi. And I would love, if anyone watches it, please rate it on IMDb or Amazon. Yay! Because.
And when you made up the cards, remember the cards?
Oh yes, the cards.
You gave me a whole box full of them, and I made sure not one of them went to waste. I would go to the library and open up books and put one in every book. This way, when they take a book home and they open it, it falls on their lap. Then I would go in the Dollar Tree where they sell books, and I would take one and put them in all the books. Yeah. And this way, when they buy the book and they open it, it falls on their lap. So I was putting it everywhere.
The postcard is actually the poster. So if you go to the IMDb page for King Lahiri, you'll see it right there. And there's Siraj right there. So
poster, yeah.
And let me add this too before you go, that I'm also a person that finds funding for film projects and movie and TV streaming projects. I work with several different companies, as Sal knows. Some of my music is going to be in some of them productions as well. And I'm willing to work or help anybody that wants to either get into the film industry or is in the film industry and needs promotions. We have a green screen at our studio here in Hamilton, New Jersey. We're working on productions now. We're doing audio books and working with legends that have been coming in. And I'm just glad to be part of the entertainment industry.
Awesome. I love that.
And Gene's been doing the show for like what, 28 years? You've been doing.
It's going to actually be 30. My daughter told me, she says, "No, Dad, you started the station when I was almost, when she's 31 now." So she said, "You started it when I was born." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it didn't really take off then." So I just said 28 years, but she's right, 30 years. So yeah, it's been a while.
All right. By the way, I made one of the characters be from the area. They give a shout out to Ewing.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everybody you want to. Say a whole bunch of people.
Shout out to everybody. But I mean, in the movie, we give a shout out to Ewing. We made one of the characters be a Ewing native.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just let me ask you a question. Where at in Ewing?
Well, it used to be called West Trenton back in the day, but it's actually right by River Road. And the thing is, everyone always wants to go into the Chris Farley in a van by the river. Every time I tell them I live right by a river, but I live about maybe 9 miles from Washington Crossing Park.
Okay, because I just let you know, I used to work there. New Jersey State Police. I was there on River Road probably for more than 5 or 10 years.
That's like half a mile from.
I know. We're at Upper Ferry, Lower Ferry. I know.
Well, I went to Villa Victoria Academy. Yeah. So that whole bit right there.
Wow. So if you ever need anything, Saima, just reach out to me.
Well,
Sal.
Well, Saima, last time we met together, you and Christopher, you had said you had some other projects in the works.
Well, I did some short films. They're on the YouTube, and then I just started going into documentaries because I do a lot of volunteer work in Vietnam, and I actually it's on there. It's called Move Forward in Friendship, because where I work in Vietnam was actually started by American veterans with Vietnamese veterans, because they're like, after the war, they're like, we want to come together.
Sure.
And so I just shot so much footage. I kind of did it to kind of promote volunteer work.
Well, you have to remember, it's not the people, it's the people that are led by the country that's at war. It's not the people that want to be at war with each other.
And that's what the place is actually called, Friendship Village, because they said we had to fight because our governments told us, but we come together in friendship. And so that's up there. And I encourage people to look at it, because you can volunteer at any age. You help with like the teachers, and it's just such a great place to be.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sal, for a great guest.
Well, I can't believe the show went so fast. We got to do another one. Maybe we'll do one with you and Christopher Bacone.
Okay.
Get back talking about the movie, whatever.
And talking about water.
So, yeah. Well, like Bruce Lee.
Talk about anything you want, my dear. Anything you want.
And Bruce Lee said, you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. You put it into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. In other words, water. That's his philosophy of Kung Fu. Be formless and shapeless like water. But you put water into a teapot, it turns into that
becomes teapot.
Right? You put it into a bottle, it becomes that design. Mm-hmm. So that was his philosophy. He would say, "Be water, my friend." I'll send you that clip. You'll be interested in it.
All right.
He said, "Now water could flow or it could crash." He said, "You can't grab water and hold on to it, but yet you can't punch it and hurt it, but yet it could knock down walls and everything."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he said, so every Kung Fu man wants to be like water, soft but powerful.
I mean, hey, the Grand Canyon was caused by water.
There you go, right?
I'll tell you right there.
Breaking concrete and cars and all kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay, guys, have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
Simon, thank you so much. We got to get together.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Take care,
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Everybody. Where's my balloons? No balloons. Paul must have fell asleep.
Where's Paul? Paul's not there. No Paul.
Yeah. I think.
Bye, Fran. Bye,
Fran. Nothing.
Tell Fran goodbye. Bye, Fran. We love you. We miss you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
We had a great show. It was great. I had a great time.
Great show, guys.